Okay, One Nation Leader Pauline Hanson is calling for Liberal Senator Simon Birmingham to resign from his post. This is after he expressed support for the voice to Parliament. Hanson said, as Leader of the Opposition in the Senate, Senator Birmingham will not provide the leadership the Coalition must have to effectively oppose the voice. Mr Dutton needs his party's complete and unequivocal support for the No campaign. Like Mr Leeser, Senator Birmingham must go. Well, Senator Birmingham, unsurprisingly, rejected those calls today.
My intention is to respect the Australian people who will go about this referendum applying their judgment to the issues that are before them at the time. I'm hoping that there is still room for some type of consensus to be salvaged out of this situation. I've said for a long time that I don't wish to see an unsuccessful referendum.
Pauline Hanson joins me now. Pauline, I think you've got a very valid point here. The Liberal Party's position is to vote no and say no to this divisive and racist voice proposal. Birmingham is on the front bench. He's the leader in the Senate. How can he carry this when he wants to support it?
He can't, and he shouldn't be there. He's not backing up Peter Dutton with his job. He has openly said he is all for the voice. So he's not going to campaign. He said he will not campaign beside Peter Dutton for the No campaign. So basically, he's a thorn in the side of the Liberal Party. He is useless on the floor of the Senate. He is basically a wet blanket for the Liberal Party, and he supports the Labor and a lot of their policies that they put across. He doesn't combat Penny Wong whatsoever or the Labor Party policy. And just recently, we put through some legislation on the floor of Parliament, and in that legislation, they had that you had to consult with the Aboriginal groups to do with this legislation. Now it's already started. There was no, comeback from Simon Birmingham. He never spoke about it. He never objected to it whatsoever. Peter Dutton needs to get rid of him. Get rid of him and put in Michaelia Cash, because she's the one, and you need a fighting spirit on the floor of Parliament, because otherwise the Libs have got no hope at the next election.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. A lot of Liberal Party insiders tell me that Birmingham's lost all his mojo, if he had any mojo at all. He's not up to the fight and wants to appease and go along with Labor's policies. That's not what we need in this country. We need a good, vigorous opposition to make a government even better. And Michaelia Cash does have the fight in her, doesn't she?
Of course she has the fight in her, and she's actually on the right side of politics. Birmingham is a moderate. Cory, I put up to I wanted a Senate inquiry into puberty blockers. Birmingham voted against that. It was only a Senate inquiry. He voted against it. I actually put up another piece of legislation to actually say that children under 18 couldn't have this, disfiguring their bodies and cutting off their bits and pieces and destroying them. Again, he voted against it. I said it should be once they're 18 years of age can make that well-informed decision. But no, he voted against it. Like I said, he's a moderate. He should be in the Labor Party. He is no asset to Peter Dutton. If Peter Dutton wants to be Prime Minister of this country in the future, you've got to get rid of the wet blankets. You've got to put people in who can perform and push your Conservative policies on the floor of Parliament. And I've got no time for Birmingham. He's the one who saw the Liberal Party fail in South Australia. He is not going to prop them up. He's not going to help them. This piece of legislation, the Voice, Cory, is one of the most important pieces of legislation or this referendum that this country will ever see for a long, long time. Now, there's no true argument. Birmingham's saying he won't resign from the cabinet, shadow cabinet. You know what tells me he hasn't got the backbone like Julian Leeser. He actually wants to keep his position, the pay that he's on, and he hasn't got the guts or the backbone to actually stand up by his convictions. As he said, he doesn't support the Voice. He's not going to campaign with Peter Dutton over this. Well, then, you know what, Simon? Step aside, mate. You shouldn't be there.
Yeah, it's very true, and that's the Liberal Party principle, Pauline. I don't know why you're having to remind them of that sort of stuff. Can I just ask you this, though? You mentioned there about you had this Senate motion and that Birmingham voted against it. This was about puberty blockers, or you wanted to have an inquiry.
Yep.
Was he leading the Liberal Party to vote against it, or did they have a conscience vote? Because quite often the leader makes the call and the rest of them have to follow along.
I'll tell you what I heard by it. Peter Dutton's told the organisation that he supported to have the Senate inquiry into it. An hour before it went to the vote, Birmingham told all the senators, you can have a conscience vote. That's not Peter Dutton. That's not the message that I believe was given by Peter Dutton. So anyway, Birmingham let them have a conscience vote on it. And there was about 4 of the senators that actually did. Maurice Payne says she's another wet blanket. So is Dean Smith. So is Jane Hume, so is, Corbeck. These are all wet blankets that aren't helping the Liberal Party and how they vote in that Senate on important issues like this. It was only a Senate inquiry into puberty blockers because the mothers went around to all the politicians, had a talk to them. They said they had a great response, and guess what? When it comes to the vote on the floor of Parliament, they all back away from it. And this is what the people of Australia want. And this is where Peter Dutton has to actually take strong leadership, go back to the conservative values of the Liberal Party. Malcolm and I, Senator Roberts and I, do a lot of the job of the Liberal Party in that Senate and standing up to the government and questioning a lot more things than what they ever do. And, I like Peter Dutton. I think he's the right man for the position at the time. But he's got to see the true leadership and he's got to make some tough decisions. And as I said, I've been pushing for Jacinta Price to be in the Aboriginal Affairs portfolio. She's articulate, she's genuine, she cares about the people, she's Aboriginal descent, and she's expressing the same things that I've been talking about for 27 years. The only difference is she's Aboriginal descent and I'm white, but we're both called racist because we stand up for the principle that all Australians should be treated equally.
Yeah, you're quite right there. I know lots of people are cheering Jacinta on into that position. But I've got to ask you about this, Pauline. It's a bit sensitive, but one of your own team you had a difference of opinion with the other day, Mark Latham. There was no expectation from you that he would resign, but you had a very public disagreement with over a tweet which was related to a policy, I understand. How are you reconciling your call about Birmingham v Latham?
No, it wasn't over a policy at all. His comments about an issue I can't repeat it and I won't repeat it. I was disgusted with his comments.
No, I wouldn't want you to either.
I asked Mark to apologise. Yeah, so I asked Mark to apologise. I think on policy, Mark Latham has done a fantastic job on policy for New South Wales. And there isn't anything that we have disagreed with at all. But, when it comes down to policy in my own party, on minor issues, I allow the members to actually have their say, as I do with Malcolm Roberts. But important policies, no, we are united in our stance and we discuss those, but usually they are guided by my experience, my knowledge, and as I explain it to them, where we should go with policy. Now, as I said to you, Cory, the voice referendum is the most important piece of legislation or a referendum to change our constitution that will ever affect this country and future generations. It has been pushed by an Aboriginal industry's gravy train, and it's not about helping the Aboriginal people out there. They've had billions of dollars, they've had all the resources. You've got 3,000 Aboriginal corporations out there, you've got the resources to do the job. Nothing's changed because they don't want to change it because, like I said, it's a gravy train. Yep, you've been there.
We've got to vote no to this. We've got to vote no to this voice. But, hey, Pauline, just quickly, have you had a conversation with Mark Latham since you had that dispute with him?
He's gone on an extended holiday, so I can't. He's out of mobile service, so I haven't been able to talk to him. So after the election, Cory, I think Mark was just absolutely worn out, and also I think he was a bit upset over the election results. But anyway, it is what it is,
yep.
And so I still encourage Mark to do a great job for the people of New South Wales.